The tort of passing off. Meaning of passing off. Passing off means that the defendant A. By making a false representation. B. Sells goods. C. With the intention to deceive the purchaser, and D. The plaintiff believes that the goods being sold by are of the defendant. The protection of commercial goodwill is the objective of the tort of passing off. It ensures that exploitation of the people's business reputation does not take place. No man can have any right to present his goods as the goods of someone else is the underlying philosophy of the tort of passing off. In countries like the UK, New Zealand and Australia where common law is practiced, the tort of passing off is a common law tort that is used for the enforcement of unregistered trademark rights. A trader's goodwill is protected by the tort of passing off from misrepresentation. It not only prevents misrepresentation by a trader of his goods or the services being provided but also holds out some connection or association with another when it is false. Law of passing off in India. Actionable under common law, the law of passing off in India is mainly to protect the goodwill that is attached to unregistered trademarks. One should not get benefit from the labor of another person is founded in the basic principle of law. In the Trademarks Act, passing off is defined in Section 27, 2, 134, 1c, and Section 135. The jurisdiction or power of the district courts in the matter of passing off suits, to try the suit or issue injunction is referred in Section 134, 1c. Establishment of the case and the irreparable injury or loss causes is done by the plaintiff. No person is entitled to represent the goods of another person as his own. Using of any signs, symbols, marks, devices, or some other means wherein a direct false representation to a person is permitted. Passing off through deception was a kind of unfair trade or actionable unfair trade through the means of which a person obtains economic benefit of the established reputation by another person, and thus uses in a particular business or trade to be benefited by it. Such action is regarded as an action for deceit. In Wockhardt Limited vs. Torrent Pharmaceuticals, it was passed in a judgment that intention to defraud or deceive should not be considered to analyze misrepresentation, passing off, and trademark law. For passing off is a cause of action in a form of intellectual property enforcement which is against the unauthorized use of a get-up. The term get-up means the look and feel or the external appearance of a product, which may include some marks used. These are considered similar to the products of another party and includes unregistered or registered trademarks. An action for a trademark in passing off where infringement based on a registered trademark is of a particular significance as it is unlikely to be successful. This is as a result of the differences arising between registered mark and the unregistered trademarks. A statutory law such as the United Kingdom Trademarks Act 1994 in passing off and is a common law cause of action, providing for the enforcement of registered trademarks through infringement proceedings. Passing off does not give any names, marks, get-ups or other indices monopoly rights. It does not recognize them as a property in its own right. Passing off and trademark law manage overlapping factual circumstances, but deal with them in different ways. Instead, the passing off law is designed to avoid misrepresentation in the course of public trade. Example as in the case of some sort of association between the businesses of two traders. In the trademark decision of Trademark Opposition Decision in 2001, two brands of confectionery both named refreshers, one made by Swizzles Matlow and the other by Trevor Bassett that had existed since the 1930s. It was held that it would deceive a purchaser as to certain things like their source for some items, but not for others. Both coexist in the marketplace. Essentials of passing off. To make one liable for the tort of passing off, the plaintiff must prove the following. His goods were known to the public by some mark, distinctive name, appearance, get-up, or badge. The defendant made a spoken or written representation by the conduct of others or by word of mouth. The use or initiation of the name by the defendant misleads the public and made them believe that the goods by the defendant were of the plaintiff. In the ordinary course of business, the defendant's conduct is likely to mislead or deceive the public, at least in case of unwary or incautious, if not the intelligent or careful purchaser. The three fundamental elements, often referred to as the classic trinity, as restated by the House of Lords in the case of Reckitt and Coleman Products Ltd. v. Borden Incorporated. It stated the three elements. 1. Goodwill owned by a trader. Firstly, the plaintiff must establish reputation or goodwill attached to his services or goods in a suit for passing off. 2. Misrepresentation. The plaintiff must prove a misrepresentation to the public by the defendant. That means that it must be likely to lead the public into believing that the plaintiff has offered the goods and services. 3. Damage to goodwill. The plaintiff needs to demonstrate that a loss has been suffered due to a belief that the services and goods by the defendant are those of the plaintiff. Loss due to passing off. It is of utmost importance that the party that is claiming the benefit under passing off might have incurred a loss due to the opposite party's action of the passing of their goods or the services as that of the former party. It is essentially important to be observant and vigilant about one's right as a service provider or as a trader. Initiation of an appropriate action against illegitimate users to save one's identity of the business, the money, effort and time involved into creating a law is for those who are aware of their rights and have the means for its enforcement. Importance of passing off. Trademarks provide protection to registered goods and services, whereas the action of passing off provides protection to the unregistered goods and services. The most important factor is that in both cases, the remedy is the same. But the distinction lies on the fact that trademarks are available only for registered goods, whereas passing off is available for unregistered goods. In the case of Durgaidat versus Navaratna Pharmaceutical, 6, the distinction between passing off and infringement was set by the Supreme Court. Conclusion. The slides explains about the short notes on passing off in law of torts.